there's been so much stuff that has come up in my coaching that I have felt absolutely called to help you with, to talk about, to change the dialogue of what is on the internet, particularly about when it comes to manifesting a specific person. So there's going to be videos about that. There's going to be videos about, you know, the very, very unhealthy stuff that I'm seeing on the internet and how you can look after yourself, protect yourself, do this the healthy way, get anything you want the healthy way. Hi everybody, it's me, Corrie T, and I'm back with another video after a bit of a break, which was much needed, very necessary, and I learnt a lot. So I'm here to give you a bit of a catch up and tell you about what's happened and what I've learned, because you're human, I'm human, you can probably relate to some of it, and maybe we can share some of these lessons that I've learned through this process. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who sent me messages on YouTube and on Instagram about the migraine that I had the other day, which is so much better now. It was so nice to receive so much support about that and so much love, and I'm so grateful for this community, and I'm so grateful that you're here, so thank you for all your love and support as always. Okay, so what happened? Right, I'm going to tell you the very human story of what happened, which includes many triggers, many blind spots, many things that happened that I couldn't see at the time and then learned through the process of going through a bit of turmoil and digging it out and discovering it. So I'm going to tell you what I learned. So back to a few weeks ago, about a month ago actually, I started feeling really, really tired and really stressed and really angry and really sad, and all of these negative emotions were coming up, and I was thinking, whoa, okay, I've got some work to do and I just absolutely don't know where or what this is coming from. And at the time I was thinking it was because of the environment that I was in. So we weren't really happy with where we were living in Tenerife. And I'm really big on environments. My environment always really affects me, and I like peaceful, tranquil places. And that place that we were living was on a main road, it was very noisy, and it was very small, and I felt really, really claustrophobic, and I just didn't like the area at all. So I was feeling really misaligned in that respect, and I thought that that was the whole problem, and I kept blaming it on that. And then what happened was I found myself having a really, really big resistance to creating content for my channel as well. And I was thinking, oh my God, we have to move from here, because I'm so stressed with this environment that I can't do my job. So I blamed it completely on the environment, which actually was only a small part of the problem. And so I took a step back from creating videos, and I gave myself some time, and I blocked off my calendar for coaching for 2.5 weeks. And I thought, I need some time to figure out what is going on within me, because, you know, being a coach is not for the faint-hearted, right? You're talking to people, often people who are going through a lot, and you have to protect your energy. And I found myself taking on a lot of people's energy, which is my responsibility, right? I did that. But actually, I hadn't realised that I had been working far too much, doing, 5, sometimes 6 sessions in a day, which is a lot. That's a lot. And also in this space that I had from not creating videos and giving myself a bit more extra time, I realised that I had not had very clear boundaries with things like Instagram messaging and, replying to emails at like any time of the day. And since I've had this coaching business, which I love, and it's like the best thing ever, and I love it, I have just been so excited about it that whenever I get an email, usually I will reply straight away as soon as I see it, even if it's like 12 at night or 3 in the morning, because there's people all over the world who are inquiring about coaching. And I always get so excited whenever I get an inquiry that I want to reply straight away, but I didn't realise how much energy that was taking. I didn't realise how much the whole thing was taking. The space that I took for myself gave me the opportunity to look at the things that I was doing and the way that I was operating and how much energy I was giving and how much time I really had for myself and the things that I was doing for myself. And it was really, really unbalanced. And I just didn't realise that, because a lot of the time I'd been excited about it, I'd been enjoying it, I've been passionate about it. I really had to learn this lesson, and my body was speaking to me. And I'm really big on checking in with your body and what it's saying and what it's communicating with you. And I started doing that a lot. And my body was basically saying, no, stop, slow down. And at first, I didn't know why my body was telling me to slow down, to not make videos, to have a break from coaching. I didn't know why. But the more that I listened to my body, the more I figured it out. And the space was just so important for me. Because, you know, the thing is that when I started my channel, I had just been in this relationship that I'm in now for about 3.5 months, which isn't very long. And then that one of the first videos that I did really just took off, and suddenly it felt like everyone was watching me and my relationship, which I'm so grateful for. But I just got swept up by the whole thing. You know, I got really, really swept up with talking about relationships, talking about my relationship, sharing. And I think that having a business that was so focused on my relationship and being in the relationship at the same time, it just felt like the whole world was about that. And at points it had disconnected me from really connecting to my needs and what I needed. And I had been talking about this to everybody else, and I'd felt like I was so aware of it, but actually even knowing it, I had missed it for myself, right? And it showed up with my body saying, no, slow down, you're tired, take a break, this hurts, this is making you angry, this is making you sad, and all of those emotions. That was what my body was telling me the whole time. So the break that I had really showed me how I had been feeling, and has given me the opportunity to reorganize the way that I work. So things are going to change in my business. I'm still not 100% sure how that is going to look, but I know that there will be, you know, more breaks, more boundaries, and that kind of thing. All the stuff that we talk about, right? Putting yourself first, making yourself a priority. Now more than ever, I just know how important that is, so that you don't get burnt out, so that you don't have resentment, so that you can give people the energy that they deserve. Because I want to be the coach that gives you the energy that you deserve, that gives you the focus that you deserve. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, I couldn't do that. You know, I was in a really confusing, quite low place. And I felt like it wasn't authentic of me to continue making videos while I was feeling like that. So that's why I've had a break. The break's been very, very good. I've learned a lot. I feel so much better. So, story time. Another thing that happened was that we left Tenerife, finally, and we went to Lanzarote, which was like beautiful. Like, so much of my stress just like went away. We had a really nice holiday there. Then we went to Bologna in Italy, which was very interesting, because that was the place that I'd accidentally sent Johnny the emoji like over a year ago. And I'd been missing him and wishing that he was there. And it was quite funny, because then he was there with me, and we were just walking around all the streets that I'd walked on my own, wishing that he was there. So that was an interesting manifestation. What happened in Bologna, though, was very interesting. I had an irritated eye, and I'm really sensitive about my eyes because I've got keratoconus and I've been through a lot with my eyes. So they can be a bit of a trigger for me. I had a really irritated eye, went to the pharmacy, got some eye drops, got on with my day, but my eye was still annoying me. Johnny looked at me and he said, Karina, I don't know why, but your pupil, this pupil, is so much bigger than your right one. And I was like, what? That is like terrifying, because I know the things that could mean if one pupil is bigger than the other one. It's scary. And if you Google that, you will see what I saw and why you shouldn't Google symptoms. So this triggered all of my hypochondria, which I haven't felt for a really long time. I could see myself panicking. I was observing it, which was interesting because it did create some space between being in the panic. So I actually learned to embody some of the observational experience stuff, which really did help, but still it was so incredibly uncomfortable. So me and Johnny went to A&E, where I sat for 8 hours in total. And during that time, they looked at the back of my eye, they looked at the front of my eye, they looked at my optic nerve, they looked at everything, and they said, it's all fine. And I was like, oh, thank God, that's good, that's a relief, can I go home now? And then they were like, no, we think you need to have a brain scan. So I was like, okay, cool, facing all of my biggest fears today, interesting. And I could feel myself panicking, but at one point I said, panic really is not going to help. It's just not going to help. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of growth. I still felt very uncomfortable, but I knew how panicking about it and crying and, worrying about it and Googling it while I was waiting just wasn't going to help. So I sat there and I waited for this brain scan, and I did it, and actually the brain scan was completely fine. There was nothing wrong with my brain at all. And they discovered that I'd had a reaction to the eye drops that I had. So I'd literally just had a reaction to the eye drops that I forgot that I had only got that day, So I literally got the eye drops, forgot about them because of the panic, because of the fear. And then it made total sense. I'm like, oh yeah, I got those new eye drops, and they had a particular ingredient in them that gave me a reaction. And then it was fine. That was fine. So we slept, and then my eye got completely better, and I was like, whoa, that was a lot of facing my fears. And the next day I got up and I thought, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to go and meet all these people who follow my channel. And I fell over. Like I just fell off a curb and my leg cut open, and I was like, are you serious, universe? Like, what is going on? How have I manifested this? And that freaked me out as well, because I was like, oh no, what if I get an infection? All of this hypochondria just came back. But what was interesting was that this time I was so aware of the opportunity that it was for me to overcome and tell myself a new story about my health. Because I haven't faced that trigger in such a long time, I haven't had the opportunity or haven't felt like I needed to face that trigger. So I was like, really aware of my fear, really aware of the stories that I was telling myself about my health, about the panic that I was physically feeling and what that was telling me and what thoughts that was producing in my brain. So that was a really great opportunity for me to change the story. What I was really curious about is like, why is this happening? The week before, I'd really, really banged my toe and thought I'd broken my toe. And then I had the eye thing, then I fell over, and I was like, what is going on? I was like, why is this all happening? And I think it was all related to the level of stress that I was feeling still in my body. And I was really stressed. All these things were just perpetuating that stress, and I could see the stories that were happening in my mind. And the more things happened, the more I was like, okay, we've got to change the story. We've got to change the story. And I had my friend Isabella, who will be probably watching this, she was there going, you've got to change the story. You've got to change the story about your health. No more things. That's the end. Now you go on to the next part of the story, which is that everything's going smoothly. Everything's fine. And I did start doing that. I started telling myself that, it's over now. All those things have been and gone, and I will take the lessons and grow from it. But I still felt really stressed. And we moved again. So we went from Bologna to Montenegro, where we are now. And that journey, I just felt so tight, so intensely stressed, so tired, and so exhausted with the whole thing. It was like all of those weeks of stress and confusion kind of had come to a head, and I was really tearful, and I was lots of negative emotions. And I got to Montenegro and I just slept, I just fell asleep. And Johnny was like, I've never seen you sleep so much. You're just sleeping all the time. And I slept for about like 2 days. And then my stress and anxiety went down a bit, and I changed my diet, because that's one thing that I really wanted to do. I was like, okay, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to eat really healthily. I was craving stillness, craving really healthy food, craving quiet, craving connection to myself more than anything. And as I changed my diet, I got the worst migraine that I've ever had. I do have migraines every now and then, and they're awful. And if you've had migraines, you know what migraines are like. And this one was a reaction to the change in my diet, and I knew that would happen. I did know, but I thought I'll be fine, I'll get through it. But it just stopped me completely in my tracks. It was interesting because the day that I got this migraine was also the day that I wanted to start making videos again. And it's like my body and my brain just went, no, you still need some time. You still need to get over this stress. You still need to overcome it. And it's like all of the tension of the last few weeks just built up and gave me a really, really intense migraine. And what was interesting about it was just that I was in tears. I was really in hysterics. I was so in pain, and I felt really sad with it. And I thought it was kind of like a chemical thing maybe, but actually it was all sorts of things. It was the chemical reaction to me cutting out sugar, and it was also the stress, and it was also just a build up of everything. And what was really, really interesting was that, you know, I was crying a lot, and Johnny was like really, really there for me, really, really supportive, really sat with me, while I was also triggered into feeling like, oh my God, like, you know, I started thinking things like, how can he handle this? And, you know, why would he want to stay through this after the last few weeks of all the one thing after another, the hospital, the, you know, falling over. I started feeling really bad about myself, and all of that old thinking was creeping in, and something within me really was like, this is working in your favour. Something good will come of this. This is necessary. You're going to feel better after this. And I knew that, but it didn't stop the fact that I felt really awful in that moment. And so I allowed it. I just allowed myself to bawl my eyes out. I allowed myself to cry and cry and cry. And it eventually I went to sleep, and I had some codeine, which like really, really helped. I only had it once, and it really did help my headache a lot. And I slept for another day and a half. And after that, I just felt better than I had done for weeks and weeks and weeks, clearer than I had for weeks, lighter and more hopeful and more connected to myself. And it was like such a huge relief and such a huge release. Something had happened in that time where I'd allowed myself to cry and process and really remember who I am. And what I have learned in all of this is how important it is to, honestly, like, I can't say it enough now, like how important it is to prioritize yourself and understand when you're overgiving, overloving, and give yourself the time to take a step back, to breathe, to process. It's taught me so much about running a business. It's taught me such a lot about why rest is so invaluable to having a business, and why rest is so invaluable to your self-worth and your sense of self and your sense of self-love and self-connection. And I just feel so much better now after that. And, you know, I'm still working out how it's going to look going forward in my business. I've already changed some things with my calendar, so there's a few less slots available now, but I I'm really, really happy that I went through that time, because it's reconnected me to myself. And I started going to the gym. Again, I've joined a gym here in Montenegro, and I'm so excited and happy about moving my body more and doing that again, because I haven't been going to the gym for so long. And I'm just like, it's re-inspired me, reignited me, given me loads of ideas. There's been so much stuff that has come up in my coaching that I have felt absolutely called to help you with, to talk about, to change the dialogue of what is on the internet, particularly about when it comes to manifesting a specific person. So there's going to be videos about that. There's going to be videos about, the very, very unhealthy stuff that I'm seeing on the internet, and how you can look after yourself, protect yourself, do this the healthy way, get anything you want the healthy way. And this process that I went through was another life experience that gives me the empathy and the awareness to be able to help other people going through similar things. So I'm grateful for it. As always, sometimes you lose yourself a bit right before you find yourself again, and it's necessary for you to have that contrast. And that is definitely what I've experienced, the contrast. And really had to face a lot of my fears. So the health thing was really, really interesting. It made me see, in the same way as I had relationship stories, I also had a health story that had been running there still in the background, and it was very easily activated when there was a trigger there. And that's given me such an amazing insight on how I'm functioning about that particular area of my life, which I'm now able to take control of, which is so exciting and has given me a new sense of life. And the triggers that came up even with my relationship while I was going through all of that, and the way that I was thinking and feeling about myself, it really did affect what I was perceiving. And I could see that happening, and how I just needed to come back to myself. I needed to have some time. I really needed the space, and I will always need the space between me, my YouTube channel, my business, and my relationship. There needs to be, space between all of those things in order for me to operate and work and be within them at an optimal level. So that was the biggest lesson of this, and I'm so glad that I learned it. I've spoken to a few other coaches who you probably know on the internet about this, and they've been really, really supportive, and they've shared with me their experience of this same thing and their lessons, and all of it really does only make you a better coach. It makes you more aware, stronger, and more able to show up as the person that you need me to be. And I'm really also so grateful for the empathy and the care that a lot of you have had. I've had so much, really loving, wise, understanding messages from people. And it just makes me so grateful to be a part in this community. And I'm very excited to see what's next, see what happens next with this, because I'm reignited with ideas and fuel, and I really believe that now, after going through that time and processing what I needed to process, that I've got some really exciting stuff to share with you. A lot about relationships, a lot about triggers, a lot about the manifesting community as a whole. And a lot about healthy healing and processing your emotions and becoming the freer, happier, lighter version of who you want to be. So there will be more videos. My coaching is back up and running. And if you would like to talk to me, then my website is still the same. I'll put the link below. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know how you're getting on, how you are, what you want to talk about, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.